not every cop is as bad as people think they are.
Yeah, like,
Exactly.
Right.
And
some people decide, like, if they're a cop, I have the power to do anything that I like.
We brought together 7 people who support defunding the police.
I 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 support defunding the police.
2 are liars. If the group discovers who the 2 liars are, they'll split a cash prize. If the liars survive, they split the cash prize between the 2 of them. This is Odd One Out.
Okay.
Yo,
Alright, so I'm just gonna be right
alright.
here.
Yeah, I will go over here. So we're gonna have a semicircle.
this is the most
We're gonna get scrum debate. We're gonna
I've
get
ever
scrum
seen in my
debate.
life.
Who would like to
Okay,
start?
this is great, but how?
I'll start off.
How
I'll start off.
How about we
I'm
start
going to
off?
tell you. I'm going to tell you people why I support defunding the police.
Go ahead, Dan.
Because every time I manage to get pulled over, somehow I manage to talk my way out of speeding tickets. They're just going to keep doing what they do. But if you defund them, it'll actually, make them more motivated to do better instead of just going around doing whatever they want to do. Whatever they want to do.
As it's a terrible analogy, but it's like getting eliminated from like a tournament or something. Even though like policing is far from a tournament, but like you get eliminated or you lose funding, then you're going to get motivated to get rid of the problem officers, restructure your organization. Strategy going into the game was to figure out who kind of had like the least developed story, because you always want to see like who's not talking, who's like trying to shy away from what's going on.
Yeah, those are the cops.
I've been fortunate to not have a bad encounter with the police, which is a lucky thing, and it's obviously far and few between, because clearly, as we see online, that's not the case. With
Trust
some
me,
people-
I've had Sriracha, I didn't mean to cut you off, but trust me, I've had plenty of bad experiences with them already. Like, think about it. Being a black man in this country honestly scares me. And before I cut my dreads off, every time I walked into a store or the mall or whatever, a cop would always stare at me and follow me around the store. It's like that shit made me so fucking uncomfortable. It's like
Seeing people that I know that are like colored and like gets followed around and stuff like that, that kind of like ticks me off, because like they didn't really do anything to like have that happen to them,
They're trying to just live a normal life like any other person, like any other white, Latino, any other kind of person, and they have to have the risk of literally just getting killed instantly, and they have no control of that. They have no control on who becomes a cop. They have no idea who becomes the cops, and a racist can end up being a cop, and then that black person or Latino or any other minority could instantly be killed just like that. I think that I'm very suspicious about Shade. He didn't really say much, and normally the moles like to stay quiet.
George Floyd was from Fayetteville. He's from my city. He went to Cape Fear, from what I heard. And there was a whole protest going on for him. They blocked off all the streets just for the protest for him. But at the same time, that was the same night all the looting happened.
I support defunding the police because it's getting rid of racist cops. But you also have to realize that sometimes that you have those bad apples, especially during COVID times, who are trying to profit from the situation. You have people going to stores and looting them and destroying them, which is not helping our cause. Like me, for example, I'm a supporter of Black Lives Matter, and I want people to actually live.
Shade. Usually the quiet one don't talk a lot. They're usually suspicious.
All right.
Okay,
Okay, so before we start, Shade, you didn't really talk a lot during the last round, so I want to hear what you have to say about it.
Yeah, would you like to say something, Shade?
I think we really should be keeping on with this defunding the police because they kind of exploit their positions. You know, when you hand them a firearm, that's like the most thing they
Right.
It just gets hectic in a speed round, so not much to catch up on.
Yeah, they think that because they have a badge, they have a gun, they have that rank of policeman. They think they can just.
They're also backed by their PBAs, which is a problem. And the PBAs fight relentlessly to back them up, no matter what.
If I can bring up a point, you remember the Breonna Taylor case, right?
Oh yeah,
one of the cops from the case who was acquitted on a murder charge. From what I remember, he got released today. Either today or yesterday.
He was charged with wanton endangerment, and not even for shooting into their apartment. He was charged for wanton endangerment of shooting.
I know.
That was fast.
I don't know. Usually I get picked up early during these suspicion games. It's just my goddamn luck. I don't know why. No real reason to vote me out, really.
If you believe that the mole is still in the square and you wish to continue the game, please hold up the card that has your name on it.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and start this round off. If any of you follow like the Shade Room or Hollywood Unlocked on Instagram, you always see how they're posting about like black people getting killed by cops.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple of them.
Well, I don't follow them, but I've heard about it.
See, but the thing is, going back to the George Floyd thing, he was literally from Fayetteville, North Carolina, right? And they had the whole street blocked off for his protest. And the protests were going on way deep into the night. I'm pretty sure the protests didn't end until 3 a.m. and that was when all the riots started happening. But at the same time, it was that, and then like you remember the Breonna Taylor cases where the cop that just got released, they didn't charge him for the bullets that hit her. They charged him for the bullets that missed and hit somebody.
Right, they charged him for the bullets that hit the neighbor's windows.
My point.
That's the thing,
that's what upsets me is that they don't charge people for the actual bullets that hit the person. They hit the ones that missed the people. That's what upsets me.
They're not charging the person who actually killed the person. They're charging them for things that make no sense. You're charging them for shooting stuff. Yes, I get that, but you need to also charge them for killing an innocent person. That girl could have had a lovely life, but now her life was just taken. Honestly,
it's not just the cops, but like know how. Let's just say you see a white man. Well, this is going to be kind of gruesome, but a white man that fuck you, gamer. Fuck you.
Right.
Fuck you, gamer.
Probably because I was being too quiet. I didn't know what to say. Sometimes you overlook a lot of people. Sometimes you, like I say, if you know about a certain topic, and you know off the top of your head, you can pretty much build up a conversation, build up a defense, a contradiction.
If you believe that the mole is still in the square and you wish to continue the game, hold up the card with your name on it.
Okay.
So continue.
Make a square.
One in each corner. One in each corner. That works. Okay. So going back to
gamer's gonna hate us for this.
going back to my point from the last round, you could see a white man that either killed someone or raped a baby or something like that. He'd only get a year or parole at best. If you see a black man that has not even an ounce, like a gram of weed, he gets locked up for like 5-10 years without parole.
Oh, the death row at this point. And I remember
what upsets me is that people colored get chances. Well, how can I say this?
Fetch, I get what you're trying to say, but honestly, shut the fuck up. Anyway,
please don't say it.
Like I've literally been through that kind of experience before, where I felt like I was about either to die or rot in jail for something I never even did.
That's the sad thing, though. Like, it's innocent black people can lose their lives, or literally have their lives taken from them away from an instant from a cop who thinks they have higher power because they have that badge and firearm. And it's sad because they're fearing for their lives right now. Their lives are literally at risk, and they have no control over that. It sucks knowing that innocent black people are getting killed, and the police can get away with it.
They just get kicked out for something they didn't even do. Like I just get upset when I see that. Like either if it's a cop or whatever, I just get upset whenever I see that because like that's your friend that's like right there, and then they just get kicked out for something they did they never did. Like,
a white man can accuse a black person of stealing from them, and literally the people who are like accusing the person who just accused that black man could literally just be a racist, and they think it was them just because they're black. And the people who are supposed to try to be neutral and try to get both sides just go to the white guy side.
You just brought up a good point.
I agree. Like defunding the police is going to do our societies a lot better than actually like funding them. If you're going to fund a police department who's known to have racists, who's known to have people who will kill black people, Latino people, any kind of minority, let's say, then why should we fund them? It's so backwards. The fact that we're in the 21st century and racism is still being debated. Defunding the police needs to happen if we are to try get past our stains on human society and history. And if we're going to get past that, defunding the police is the only choice we've got.
Did you hear about the guy that got shot and he got handcuffed to a hospital?
Guys, time's up.
Time's up.
To be honest, I barely said anything in that round. And I think it was my time to go anyway. I was getting too far out of the competition.
If the mall is still in the square and you wish to continue the game, please hold up the card with your name on it. If the lights turn red, it means that at least one of the malls is still in the square and they split the money between each other. If the lights turn green, that means you have eliminated both of the malls and you, the remaining players, split the prize.
Please. Rob, I swear to God if it's you.
Sir, I swear to God, I'm going to punch you if it's you.
Let's jump him in the parking lot.
Yeah, let's jump him on the way home.
Come
on, please.
Green.
Please.
No,
sir, it's you, isn't it? It's you. Sirats, explain yourself.
If you were the moles, please step forward.
I swear to God, if it's him, I swear to God.
Sirats, I knew it.
Sirats, oh my God. I knew it.
I knew
it. I knew it. I freaking knew it.
That's crazy.
Sarah, you snake.
Seriously.
You are such a snake.
That's crazy.
I feel snaked. Shade, yes, I knew it was him from the start. He stayed quiet. He tried to be shy and stay quiet. It unfortunately didn't work for him. Sirats, though, I feel betrayed. He really seemed like he wanted to fund the police.
I'm a very honest person in life, and I'm not one to lie about things. Even if it wouldn't help me, even if it wouldn't help my case, I generally would never lie about something because that's just the kind of person I am. Obviously, in this show, the circumstances are different. Part of I think the reason why I was so good at the deception was honestly because I'd spent way too much time recently playing Among Us. And that game is all about deception and lying, and it shouldn't be, but that's how the game functions, so I kind of had that fresh on the brain. So I think defunding the police is not the appropriate way to approach this, because for the police departments that do well and do the right thing, then we're wrongly stripping them of funding that they do need. For instance, I think a better approach is to require the police reform and all that, and do all these investigations. I think that's a much better use of time and money than taking away money from a department that should, keyword should, not all of them do, but should protect our lives. They'd rather take away all the money from that, investigate and do all the reforms and all that, and then I think we'll have a better department and organization overall. I am in full support of the protests and everything that has been going on this year, and especially during May and with George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. I am in full support of that, and Black lives absolutely matter. but I don't think that specifically defunding the police is the right approach to this.
I'm just saying, they defund certain police stations who have certain bad people.
I just believe that the protests and the general message is that they want all police to be defunded, and that's why I disagree. If you say certain ones, then I do agree, but not all of them. And I think that's what the protesters, and I believe that's what the general message is, and that's why I disagree.
See,
I do not support All Lives Matter. No.
All Lives Matter.
Hey, pray tell.
All Lives Matter is masked as saying that all lives matter, but it's really just created as a retaliation group, and that's not right. Yes,
to be honest.
See, all Black Lives Matter is trying to say is that we just want to be equal, because this might sound racist, but it's honestly true. Most of the white men and women in the world think that they're better than Black people. They think that they're better than every other race, but in reality, all we want is to just be equal. Because I ain't even gonna lie to you, I get tired of walking into a store and then all of a sudden people giving me dirty looks just because I used at the time when I had my dreads, because I used to be a dreadhead. Like a Black man walking into a store filled with white people, they all just staring at you. That gets uncomfortable after a while, and it just makes me not want to go outside, because I never know what could happen to me. I could end up getting shot. I could get lynched. I could end up getting set on fire for all I care. But at the same time, it's like all we want is to be equal.
And you guys deserve to be equal, and you're gonna have to bleep this out probably, but it's bullshit that you're not. Security
and keeping hold of prisoners, keeping hold of any convicts, any captives. So if we can't have a protection in a police station or a prison even, then defunding it would probably lead to more disasters than you probably know of.
There is a lot of emotion going on in these instances right now. And also it's very confusing and contradicting, because it seems like every person you ask has a different definition of what defunding the police is. From what I understand, and from what most people talk to me, defunding the police to them is completely stripping a police department of all of its funding, thus rendering it completely useless and unable to do its job. Which for the good officers in the police departments, that completely destroys their career and honestly puts the citizens that they try to serve at risk. So because that some people believe that defunding the police means stripping the department of all of its funding and basically rendering it defunct, that's why I don't support that, because although there are clearly police officers who do not deserve the badge, there are many good officers out there that still do their job every day and do it right.
Most people have different point of views. Some agree, but sometimes feeling can take over thoughts and logic and reason.
Get people to trust you. Get people to like you. Make your opinion be seen, and they'll believe you. And overall, just be a trustworthy person, in my opinion.
Never be quiet. Even if you know of one subject, if you know the subject and you refuse to talk about it, just try to at least get into a conversation.
I am completely in support of the protests as a result of the George Floyd incidents, etc. And I'm obviously a very, very nice person in life. In real life, I really do have a heart and I care about people. But obviously, I hope people understand the reasoning behind why I don't support defunding the police. I think you can really learn that there are a lot of different viewpoints out there. So I think the show really does help you understand and eventually appreciate other people's perspectives. Even if you may not agree with them yourself, it is important to know that other people out there may not necessarily agree with you, and that's okay, because that's people's opinions. It's when people think that their opinions are the only correct ways to go with that people start running into problems.